All I got is missed calls on my line, yeah. Never seen a pick up.
3,
Right on
2,
time, yeah. If I
1.
don't call.
Hola, amigos. That means hello, friends, in Portuguese. I'm Ryan Sartori. That's Colby Marcio. This is the Missed Call Podcast, episode 143. That means
Wow, we're
143 in
finally here.
English.
We're finally here.
Yes. Football season is upon us. We've got a ton of football things, as Drake would say, to talk about today. Some NFL headlines, college football week 1, and the actual teams will be playing this week. It's not just stupid Notre Dame on a national stage, not even playing in the correct country. We've got some baseball
At home,
stuff to get
it's
into.
a home
too.
game. That's a home game. That is the most, what's the word I'm looking for? You ever pander so hard that you just pander into an audience that is just everything you want it to be? Oh,
yeah.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish play in Ireland. Oh, name a better script for that.
And I want to say something along the lines of 36,000 Americans traveled to, I almost called it.
They're sickos, right?
Ireland. I call it
you have the gambling sickos that is who gambles on Hawaii football that starts at midnight, and then you have the sickos that their religion is a team, which is disgusting to me.
Oh yeah, that's not the way to bet, right?
Oh no, you don't bet teams, you bet numbers.
As we're talking about gambling here at the top of the show, this is the Missed Call Podcast, but Colby Marcio has his own solo venture happening right now called Up Your Units. Episode 2 just dropped, right?
Episode 3. Episode 2 was the U.S. Open preview. If you like tennis, I brought on Danny Kleppinger. She works at the Tennis Channel and Live on the Line. She knows how to gamble, and she knows her tennis. She's on a absolute heater right now. Tail her until she's cold.
All right. So all the good things, find Up Your Units wherever you get your podcasts. Obviously, you found this one, so do the same thing and go listen to Up Your Units and get ready for what's going to be probably a very prosperous football season with Colby Marcio. But
did you enjoy watching football this past weekend, Ryan? Did you enjoy the watch part?
The watch part was fun. How much of it I watched, I can't really speak to because I had some work functions. But dude, Hulu fucks.
All right. So this is sad, but hey, I'm broke, so I don't care. My parents used to pay for my Hulu, and it was great. And then up until a couple of weeks ago, they're like, "Hey, we're not paying for this anymore." And I was like, I got to find somebody. I was like, Hulu's the greatest. Hulu Live is the greatest thing. I will give this free ad out until I die. Cable is creeping up on coming back, but Hulu Live is the closest thing to perfection that you can get at a reasonable rate. So Ryan was my victim. Sorry, Ryan.
Ryan was my victim, dude. I'm your benefactor. This is a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. So if the podcast dies, so does this Hulu.
No, it fucking doesn't.
See,
we signed an agreement. Yeah. Can I tell you what the biggest thing for me has been?
What was it that you had to text me about? Like you were like, "Hey, FYI, Hulu."
I don't know, but what I was going to say is the thing that I've really enjoyed having again is the news. Like just being able to watch the local news for a half hour. Like before we recorded this podcast, I sat down and I watched the 6 to 6:30 newscast for my local. Like it's just one of those little things. I like to stay informed.
You're kind of a dork. A local kitty runs up a tree. Here is Ryan Sartori with the case.
100%. But also it helps me with my job a lot because we're very community focused radio station. We do a lot of stories and stuff from in the community. So that helps. But yes, Hulu fucks because we have football, all the football. And doesn't it give us the access to ESPN Plus too? Explain this to me like I'm your dad.
Like I'm your dad. So you get Disney, or no, you don't get Disney. Disney would cost more, I think.
I don't want that. I don't need that.
No one needs that. Have you ever used Disney Plus? It's useless.
Yes, I have.
Useless. Unless you're a sicko. That's another sicko. Disney people. You get ESPN Plus.
Right.
So essentially the way I described it to you is you get Hulu's normal package, the cheap one. And then on top of that, you get an additional amount of those that the normal people don't get. And then you get live television And then basically every game you can imagine that is like in your, what is it, local, whatever, like you don't
Broadcast
get
area.
Yeah, local broadcast. You don't get every NFL game, but with ESPN Plus, you get every college game. Like
Right.
last season, when I was gambling on the 360 plus college basketball team, they had it. It was teenagers with the camera, but guess what? I was watching.
It was dudes on an internship.
It
You
was
couldn't
Navy.
really see a whole lot, but it was there.
It was Ireland's camera crew doing the game, and I was watching.
Okay, can we talk just for a second? I don't want to sit too long on last week's college football, but the broadcast for Notre Dame and Navy was dog shit.
What, and Ryan, and then an ignorant person would say they don't know football. Rugby?
Truth. The thing that I will give them is that it's a soccer stadium. So the broadcast and the little perch
They're further
areas
back.
are further back. They're set up for soccer because you want to be able to see the whole field. But it just felt like if you squint, you could watch football, but you were so far removed from the action.
With that. I can deal with that.
The same way I can't watch games, home games for Syracuse. I can't watch them because
it's the football field.
Dude, the dome. I forget what it's called, but I can't watch those games. I'll immediately turn it off because number one, Syracuse football sucks. But
I thought you were talking about the basketball team.
No. The
They play there
football
too.
team. The angle to the field is just so displeasing.
And it wasn't just like them being so far back. They were like missing plays completely.
Yes.
Completely.
I think there was a long touchdown run or something like that. There was a long touchdown run.
It was a run
something where you had to like pan, and he was at the front of the picture, and the guy was trying to like catch up on the camera. It was crazy. So, but no, having Hulu has been awesome. Thanks for roping me in. You've got that covered for this month, right?
It's next week, Ryan. You better send me the Venmo.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump into the topics of this episode. We got to lead off with the White Sox. The Chicago White Sox.
Brother.
Are dumb.
Gold.
This pair of fans that entered the stadium might be dumber. Might be more dumb. So
I think security is more dumb.
We got a flashback to last Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's August 25th. There are shots fired in the bleachers at Guaranteed Rate Field. You see like the wide shot of the fans. There's no stirring out there. It just is like people trying to help somebody who just got shot. And it's like this tragic thing. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, what happened? There's a search. There's an investigation that's still ongoing. There was reports that the bullet came in from the outside of the stadium.
He curved the bullet.
Like it was, what was the name of that movie?
I don't know.
Jolie was in it.
It was an epic movie where you got to curve the bullet.
And they like shot in a fucking circle.
It feels like not a Brad
Shooter?
Pitt.
Was it Shooter? Was that the name of the movie?
It's not Brad Pitt. Who's the other guy? Oh, it is Brad Pitt. I think it's a Brad Pitt movie. First of all, Curve the Bullet. When they did that epic movie, comedy when I was 10 years old. Peak comedy. Yeah, I was like, when I saw the headline or the tweets about it, my initial thought was, are you serious? Another incident in this city, but also at a place that's got really good security, I feel like.
Wanted was the name of the movie.
Terrible name. Now, Ryan, have you ever gone to another state? You've gone to other stadiums outside Chicago games, right?
Of course.
Now, are they more lenient or less lenient there? Or more? Are they or more strict? Sorry, not less lenient.
I would say they're run of the mill. I would say everything is pretty much the same. Like I've been to White Sox games. I haven't felt like there's been more security or less security. But anyway, to unravel these things, right? To unravel these things, there probably should be more security at the White Sox games.
Ryan, did I ever tell you when I went to the Pirates game? We just walked in.
What?
Yes.
Like no metal detector?
Barely.
Okay. So they think
it was a long line. We were in it 2 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Very cool. So the bullet either came in from the outside or was fired off in the stadium, and they're trying to figure it out. This happened on Friday. We're recording this on Wednesday. So Tuesday, there's a report from Peggy Krasinski on ESPN 1000 that says, unofficially, because we're waiting for the police report to come out.
Yeah.
That the bullet was fired inside the stadium by one of the victims who was, in the shooting situation. She allegedly snuck the gun in under her belly fat.
That's the tweet too. It says belly fat.
Yeah, I know. Allegedly snuck it in under her belly fat. So like she had it tucked up under an underboob situation, right?
Like having it in your armpit.
Having it in your armpit, having it in your, like, wherever. She accidentally fired her gun down and across her abdomen, in and through her thigh, and that bullet lodged itself in the calf of her friend next to her.
What SNL skit is this?
I don't know, but it's like Cheddar Bob from 8 Mile.
Dude, this is it's like you know what they need to do? They need to make like a parody of this with the JFK shooting. So it went off the shoulder, curved in midair, and went
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. But like, okay, so there's a serious side of this where you look at it and you analyze it and say, number one, how did this woman get a gun into the stadium? Number two, you look at it and say, thank God nobody else was hurt. And it was just these two dum-dums that decided taking a gun to a public baseball game where there are children was a smart idea. And then there's the third part of it where, like, you and I aren't native Chicagoans. You live there, but originally we are from the outskirts of Chicagoland. And there is this negative connotation, like we've been saying already in this podcast, that impacts the south side of Chicago. This does that area no favors. And it only makes people from outside the city who don't see all the other things that happen here think that this is some kind of war-torn country. No, it's just a few dumb idiots that do stuff like this that make the city look so bad. So there's the serious side of it. And then there's the real part of it where everybody's reacting to it in meme form.
It's a meme.
I mean, it's in addition to
all the epitome of Sox baseball. Dumb.
Yes, that's a fine way to put it. And it compounds issues that have happened this year. Think about it, like how bad the team performed. You get the firing of the general manager and the team president in the middle of the year. They are not going to do any sort of search for the new leadership with this organization. Reports are already saying that by the time this episode comes out and people are taking it in, Chris Getz will already have been named the new president of baseball operations for the White Sox, a guy who's run the minor league system for the White Sox for the past, I don't know how many years. And Cub, how great has the minor league system been for the White Sox?
I was about to say, who was their last top prospect?
Right? And the guys who have come up, how great have they developed at the professional level? Not very well. Eloy, Yoan, Giolito had moments of success, but like,
who's the guy they got right now? He hit a home run today. Colas.
Oscar Colas, yeah.
He's the best dude they've had in a while.
And now you get to this point where the security, one way or another, allowed a gun inside the stadium.
How does belly fat stop from the detectors going off?
Well, so there's only so much somebody at the security line can do. So I don't know how much blame can be placed on them, because you go through and the metal detector goes off, and let's say they wand you and you're like, oh, well, I got, pins in my shoulder or some shit like that.
That's so true.
And it's like, okay, then go ahead. You're good. Or, if you got it tucked up in your gooch somewhere and you say, I've got a metal hip or something like that. Okay, what are they can't do anything further than that. They are just security people. I don't think that they have the means to go about strip searching you, patting you down and such. So I think that's how a gun gets in. And the worst part is, I'm willing to bet that's not the first gun that's made it inside Sox Park.
Oh, we're all thinking that.
So
Hey, at least Tony La Russa is back. Good for them.
Yeah. Well, that's the other part we didn't even mention. Tony La Russa's back in this episode anyway. I think we talked about it last week.
Old brown belt.
So the White Sox are in a very weird situation right now, and it's only compounded by this issue. Again, this is all alleged is what I was going to say. Alleged. This is all, unofficial because the police reports have not yet come out, but is the first report that we've heard of what possibly could have happened. My biggest question, Cub, is because you looked at the wide view of it, and there was no stirring by people in the stands, albeit just a few of them.
People were bitching that Vanilla Ice wasn't gonna get to perform.
The Vanilla Ice concert got canceled, but the White Sox game didn't.
They only evacuated where the shooting was.
The Vanilla Ice concert was canceled, but the White Sox game wasn't. It was the third inning when this shit happened. They allowed something like this to continue with women and children in the stadium.
Yeah, forget the dudes, man. Kids, man.
Those are the people you protect. First, I mean, there was people galore in there. But you look at the wide view, there's no stirring in there, albeit, like I said, just a few people out there.
Ryan,
but did the belly fat act as like a silencer? I asked this on Twitter. But a gunshot went off. You can hear those from miles away. And it fired off.
They didn't hear it.
Right.
Some people said they didn't hear it. They were right next to it.
So it had to have been like a silencer situation where like this rotund person.
That's the sound of the silencer.
Okay.
Ryan, I knew people that were at the game taking pictures. I knew people that were at the game taking pictures of the Jumbotron saying, "Oh, this sucks. I can't see Vanilla Ice. What is this? Come on, Sox."
Yeah.
They didn't even know there was a shooting.
So that's, I think,
technical difficulties. That is bullshit.
It's just top to bottom such a poorly run organization. So we can sit here and bat this back and forth all we want, but the fact of the matter is somebody was shot inside of a major league ballpark on their own doing, but who knows what this could have actually came out to be. God forbid it ended up being
them.
Well, thank God, right? Like, if it's going to be anybody, thank God it's them. But I also would never want that to happen inside a baseball park anywhere.
Yeah, that's a safe space. That's where you get away from reality.
Right.
When someone told me that, I go, hold on. Are you saying the person who had the gun shot themselves?
Yes.
They're like, yeah, there was in the belly fat. I go, get the F out of here.
Yeah, dude.
White Sox, baby. South side.
So it's a battle to be the biggest joke in Major League Baseball because the Angels, the LA Angels, a team that we've talked a lot about already in just a couple of episodes that we've released, have done some really silly shit in the past week as well. Starting with the Shohei injury, which is terrible for baseball, Cub.
Come on, it's Shohei. He's the face. He's everything for baseball right now.
Right. So the injury is to Shohei's UCL. It's partially torn. That's the ligament that if it's torn, you have to get Tommy John. That puts you out for a full calendar year from throwing baseballs.
They call that Brock Purdy.
Yes. So Shohei will not pitch for the rest of the year. Actually, they call it fucking Tommy John, Cub. But
no, that's the Brock Purdy injury.
Shohei is only going to hit for the rest of the year, but this comes months before he's set to hit free agency. The Angels have said that they're a team that, although they don't have all of the assets in the world, are going to try to re-sign Shohei Ohtani. But after the news of his UCL injury, they put out a report through the media saying that they had offered Shohei imaging on his elbow back in June, but he refused it. And now he is in a situation where he's got this tear. And so kiss your chances of signing Shohei back to LA in an Angels uniform. Kiss them goodbye. They're gone. Just with that report.
Keep going, Ryan. There's more.
Just with that report, Shohei's gone. You refused to trade him. You bought in at the deadline. You brought in all of these resources, trading away what was left of your farm system that sucked to begin with. You went out and got, Giolito, Lopez, Grichuk, Crone. You went on and got all these guys. Then yesterday they waive 5 of these players. They just literally let them walk to recoup money.
Some of them played today. Some of them played. Renfroe hit a home run.
Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, Matt Moore, Hunter Renfroe, Randall Grichuk, all released from the team so that LA could recoup some money. These are players that they traded for less than a fucking month ago. They gave away major assets for these players.
Hey, man, at least they don't have to pay them next month,
Sure. If there's anything good that the Angels did, it's releasing them when they did, because they'll be available on waivers starting on August 31st. By the time this episode comes out, a lot of these players will have found new homes. And because they are on new rosters before September 1st, they'll be eligible for playoff rosters with whatever other likely contending team they end up with. But we told the Angels. We told you so.
Who takes the cake? I've been dying to ask this question since we started this conversation. Who takes the cake? The Sox or the Angels?
It's both so long-standing, right? For both organizations, the shit is so long.
Stanky.
It's one of those long, ropey shits that leaves a stain in the toilet bowl. For both teams in different toilets. I don't know who takes the cake. It's probably the Angels, because they've had the 2 most talented players in the world
in the last 20 years.
For, at this point, 3 seasons that they could play together, and they've done nothing. And then when they had the opportunity to reset their franchise by trading the most talented player in the league, they said, we're going to try for a wild card spot, and then followed that up by losing 9 in a row or something crazy like that. And then they cut everybody they traded for.
And Hunter Renfroe and Mike Trout Jr. Hunter Renfroe.
And Mike Trout Jr. Oh, God. It's probably the Angels.
It's got to be.
It's got to be the Angels. As bad as the White Sox are, they're bad for different reasons. In terms of like behind the scenes organizational things, the White Sox probably take the cake. In terms of game operations and roster construction and player development and like the things you see on the field, it's probably the Angels. Both of them win in different ways. Like I said, the longest, ropiest, thickest shit you could imagine in different toilets, they take the fucking cake.
You sent me the screenshot yesterday. I was on the floor. I was laughing my ass off. That is the funniest fucking thing I think I've ever seen an organization do. Right.
It doesn't
make any freaking sense. It does not. It doesn't even calculate. These guys failed math because that ain't mathin'.
It ain't mathin'.
And now it ain't mathin'. And now some of these guys possibly could get a ring, which was the reason they were brought in to do.
Good for them, right? It also gave some other teams an opportunity to waive players in kind of like a media sandstorm. They were able to just be like, the White Sox releasing Mike Clevenger.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
The Yankees releasing Josh Donaldson.
No, don't say the other one. Don't say the other one.
What's the other one?
Bader.
Oh, Harrison Bader. That's right. Harrison Bader was waived.
Not the kid from the Bronx. What are you doing, Cat?
But it does pave the way for Jason Dominguez, who, as we're recording this.
Oh, yeah, he's playing Friday.
Yeah, Jason Dominguez, Austin Wells, both being called up. 2 top 10 prospects for the Yankees. Jason Dominguez is a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. So the Yankees are aiming to get him some play time so that when they go into next season, they feel more comfortable putting him on the opening day roster and feel more comfortable, him getting a full 162 at the major league level. So that's baseball this week. A lot of other things happening. Pennant races heating up, wild card races heating up. And they're only going to get spicier with all these players that are left out in the open now. But as MLB kind of narrows down towards the playoffs, the NFL and college football are just starting to open the gates. Everybody's starting to see
Open the floodgates, baby.
what a long summer has led to. And I want to get into a couple NFL headlines because some weird shit happened. It's the NFL. The script writers are always working for us. But
these guys need a raise.
But it's true. It's true. They've been working
AI
really
bots
hard.
in Hollywood can't get it done.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team that's in flux. They're post Tom Brady. Obviously, everybody knows this. Nobody's feeling super confident about a roster that's got still some talented pieces on it. But so I just think this is a really fun story. Ryan Jensen was the team's center. And if you remember correctly, he came back for last year's playoff game against the Eagles. I think it was the Eagles, and played in the game, even though he had multiple torn ligaments in his knee against the Cowboys. You're right. But he had multiple torn ligaments in his knee. He is now likely done for his career because we're finding out that in order to play in that game, he was taking stem cell treatments from umbilical cords to try and repair his knee in time. And it did such irreparable damage to his knee that he's probably done forever.
He's young too, right?
Say again?
He's young too, right? He's fairly young.
He might be. You could fill time and I'll find that out for you.
Well, guys, this is this promotion is brought to you by the Minute
Okay,
Call
all
Podcast.
right. He's 32. He's 32. So who knows how many years he actually had left in the tank, but for now he's probably done. But does it get more football guy-y than taking umbilical cord stem cell shots in the knee to make it back for one playoff game that your team had no business winning?
It kind of reminds me of Dad that uses a rubber band for a wallet. I don't know why.
Dad
very
uses
pretty.
A rubber band for a wallet?
You've never seen a dad that uses a rubber band as a wallet?
No. Oh, you're saying it's like a money clip type situation?
Yeah.
I've seen that before, but those people usually aren't well adjusted to society.
Does what I said correlate? I don't know, but my brain was like, rubber band.
So that was an interesting thing. But further than that, like, this story was posted a bunch of different places. Some publications had different details about it. Information. Sports Illustrated specifically said that instead of getting surgery on his knee last year, the stem cell treatments from the umbilical cords came from babies born by cesarean section in Antigua.
I was about to ask, where do they get these umbilical cords? And then
from Antigua, apparently. That's where you go to get umbilical cords. Now, it's not, I think it's a normal thing where, some women stash the umbilical cord in like a cryogenic chamber or something like that. I think it's true, but I didn't know that you could.
It's kind of like keeping your kids' teeth.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Or their first haircut, that like lock of hair from their first haircut.
That's like cute until and that's like weird if my parents still had that.
Correct. Yeah, if your child is over the age of 20,
puberty.
Yeah, over the age of puberty.
Yeah, that's weird.
So that was a weird situation. Another thing that I wanted to bring up with you, Cub, Jonathan Taylor. We've outlined his storyline a bit on the podcast.
I have questions because I'm not bright, and I didn't do any reading for this. Why does he get suspended 4 games? Or why does he not play 4 games? I'm sorry, he's not suspended. Why does he?
The list that they have him on, it's like the PUP list, but it's a different. I forget what list he's on, but it's similar to the PUP list where if you start the season on it, you're done for the first 4 games.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right, but had he been traded before the deadline to come off that list, he would have come off that list and been just fine. But
why couldn't the Packers just pick him up like they reported? Come on.
Well, the Packers were in on him, but so too were the Dolphins. And I guess Chris Ballard was making some pretty ridiculous requests of teams in terms to try to acquire Jonathan Taylor.
Probably, right?
A first-round pick is one thing, but the Dolphins called and Chris Ballard demanded Jalen Waddle.
They're not going to pay the running back, but they want this top-notch wide receiver.
Yeah, a report said the Colts made wild requests during Jonathan Taylor trade discussions, even asking the Dolphins for Jalen Waddle at one point. The trade never really seemed close, so I can't imagine what they asked the Packers for.
This sounds like the dumbest fantasy trades that you try to get like your dumb friend to get you to trade.
You have one dumb league mate that's constantly sending around these trash trades that you instantly decline.
Do you want to hear something wild? Speaking of fantasy, I know no one cares about fantasy.
Give it here.
I was the 9th pick in my draft yesterday. Guess who my first overall pick was?
Jamar Chase?
Christian McCaffrey.
What?
Guess who my second pick was, which was
Stephon
like three pick. CD Lamb.
What? Who went? Okay. I gotta know now. Who went in the top 3? Justin Jefferson,
Mahomes, and Bijan Robinson.
Dude, I say this constantly. I wish I could be in a league with idiots.
And like, I didn't want to join. I felt like my draft was bad, and then I showed somebody, and they're like, "You drafted 9th," and I go, "Yeah." Let me read you my.
Oh God.
Draft recap.
I'm going to give you my full draft. Are you ready? In the 18th round, I selected Joey Sly.
I know no one cares about fantasy stuff. Like I didn't want to do it this year, but I was like, you know what? If you ask me, I'll do it.
Nobody cares about fantasy stuff, but like sometimes when you know about like ADP, average draft position, and like where guys should be going.
I didn't study. I just went in blind.
But it can be interesting to see where guys go in certain drafts.
All right, listen to this. Justin Jefferson, Bijan Robinson, Patrick Mahomes, Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
Derrick Henry, second round.
Over Saquon?
This is the second round. Nick Chubb, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Amon St. Brown, Breece Hall. My third pick was Travis Etienne. Somebody took Jalen Hurts in the third round.
But like I've heard that happening, but I've not heard Patrick Mahomes going third overall.
Bijan, I know the fantasy people out there because I work with a lot of them. I know they're very high on Bijan this season.
Yeah.
I get it, but it also feels like when Leonard Fournette came out of LSU, it was like, ooh, you got to take him because he's on the Jaguars, and the Jaguars are bad. They're just going to run the ball.
It seems like people are building the ceiling. People are like, it's like they're playing Minecraft and they keep just mining up.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly building the ceiling higher and higher. And like inevitably you've gone past where Bijan Robinson is going to be this year. For him to be the third pick in your draft. I mean, guys like McCaffrey and Eckler are going
second, Ryan, second.
But like McCaffrey and Eckler are going to see touches this year that others just can't compete with.
McCaffrey might throw the ball.
Truth. Bijan Robinson is going to have a ton of catches this year. It's one of his skill sets, but like I wouldn't take him over a proven guy like McCaffrey because how many dudes have we seen come into the league and absolutely shit bricks? Trent Richardson, enemy of the show.
Oh yeah. Hey, Trent.
He doesn't even
up your units.
Yeah. Check out the Up Your Units podcast anywhere you get podcasts, by the way, Kobe's Venture podcast, where he is telling you how to gamble for the NFL season. Last thing I wanted to talk about, cut down day was yesterday. And so, a lot of dreams broken, a lot of new faces though, because, the undrafted free agents, the guys coming in, a lot of shakeups yesterday with kickers. There was like 6 kicker trades.
You got to get your kick up.
Got to get your kick up. But the New Orleans Saints punter is going to be a story that you hear a lot of this year. Full arm sleeves, neck tattoos, way more swag, a mullet, a mustache. He's got the whole look going. Way cooler than most any other punter. But this report,
we all know his favorite cuss word.
He's bloody. But before coming to pursue his NFL dreams, Saints punter Lou Headley owned a tattoo shop in Bali and worked as a scaffolder before pursuing the NFL dream. And he's Australian, I guess.
How is he not like a linebacker?
How is he not dead from Molly with the life that he's lived? You kidding me? A tattoo shop owner in Bali?
Guy likes to party.
Dude, I bet you he does.
Bet you he knows how to have a good time.
Guy
Bet
fucks.
you he'd be fun on the Missed Call podcast.
First punter ever.
Hey,
mate.
Get your kick game up.
Bloody mate. Okay. Cub, it's time for you to let loose. I know this is like your third podcast of the day.
It feels like my fourth. Yeah.
But like, so, you know, this kind of shit happens from time to time. But I want you, I'm going to give you the keys. I'm handing over the keys. You have keys. Look at that. Who would have thought? This guy's
How do I get
up.
into a house?
Take the lead. I almost said March Madness, but college football week 1 is here. Let's talk.
All right, let's start with the biggest game of the week. LSU, Florida State.
Yeah.
Biggest game of the week. Sunday night. They're giving the boys prime time Sunday night. It is Orlando. It's in Orlando. So it's kind of neutral, but it's in Florida. Last year they played it in New Orleans.
Right.
Florida State won by 24-23. It's a tough game to get a feel for, but my gambling mind that I kept telling on the shows I was on, Florida State is returning 87%, number 1 in the country.
Right.
That in an era where kids leave because they have a bad practice. They're transferring everywhere. I had a bad day.
Just because I can.
I can do whatever I want. I'm going to get more NIL money here. Get your bag. I respect the chasing the bag. You got to get your bag. You never know when you're not going to get the bag. That's the problem. Right. I respect it. As a viewer, I'm annoyed. But, hey, if I was in your shoes, I'd be doing the same thing.
Right.
But in this era that we're in, if that many guys want to stay at a school, in my head that goes, they're building something that is disgusting and they want to dominate.
Yeah.
Now they have a Heisman hopeful quarterback at Jordan Travis. They have, I will quote Joshua Perry from the upper units. He said he will be throwing to aliens. I love that word, aliens. Do you remember Calvin Benjamin, Ryan?
I do.
Seminole.
One biscuit away from being obese.
Calvin Benjamin. College, he was kind of thin.
Right.
Calvin Benjamin was 6'5". Johnny Wilson is 6'7".
Holy shit.
They're throwing to Giancarlo Stanton or Aaron Judge. Pick your poison.
Yeah.
They have experience and size at the wide receiver position.
And mismatches, right? Like 6'7" is a mismatch for any.
I heard he's got stone hands, but he's 6'7".
Probably because guys that big typically aren't athletic enough to be route runners.
Benjamin was the same way.
Yeah, but as soon as Benjamin got to a level where he had to like compete, he was nobody. So we'll see. You can have that size and still be fine in college, but I'm interested to see if it actually pans out. Now, on the other side, you've got Jake Davis as the quarterback of LSU.
I hate that you're doing this on purpose. It's stop doing this. It's Jaden Daniels. For the people listening, he's being facetious. He knows the guy's name. This is his quote-unquote school. Thank you, Joe Burrow. It's Jake Davis.
So, yeah. So Jonathan Downs is the quarterback of the LSU Tigers. He's a returner. He's a Heisman hopeful guy. Another top wide receiver in the country in Malik Neighbors. Like that's going to be the 1-2 punch that everybody's looking at this year. They're always great with the offensive line. They're always great in the secondary. And this is the only ranked versus ranked game this week. And it happens to be 5 versus 8, LSU versus FSU.
Sacks.
Yeah.
Sacks.
Yeah. This is the game everybody will be waiting for. This will be the game that everybody is hoping to catch a quarter of on a Sunday night.
I mean, if I had to pick one game, I'm picking this one to watch. I mean, if you're not saying that, you're probably a degenerate sicko. So
how are you betting this?
Oh, I already took Florida State plus 2.5.
Okay. So, I mean, and again, the game is in Orlando, so it's not like it's a home thing. It's not like they're going to be. Why can't I think of where they're from?
Yeah, I think Tallahassee.
Is it Tallahassee?
Let's Google that because I don't know either.
So it's not like it's a home game, but like Florida is a drivable state that you can end up, going to Orlando.
Tallahassee. Oh. The state, Florida State, is at the capital. Get it? Oh.
But at the same time, too, we got to see what the hurricane situation plays out like. Is there still going to be remaining weather by Sunday? I don't think as much as.
Well, it's in the middle of the state. It shouldn't be as bad.
Right. But the other side of it too is it's SEC football is the away team, and those people travel. Those people will go to this game, Camping
Especially
World
Louisiana
Stadium.
Fans.
So we'll see how it plays out. The tough part about talking about NFL or college football before we've seen any sort of data points or data sets is like, we don't know. We have no idea. There are high school kids that are going to be playing college football this year that we've never heard of that are going to make a name for themselves this year. And that's the fun of college football. So like we can sit here and bat it back and forth and say FSU has 86% of their starters returning and, 87%. And, that Jake Daniels is the quarterback of LSU.
Joe Douglas.
Right. But at the end of the day, we don't know. FSU could be ranked number 8 and totally be a fraud. Texas A&M, I think, was that way last year, where they came in preseason ranked like 9 and finished the season unranked because they lost to so many shitty teams. LSU, same way, could be the worst team you've ever seen in your life. We just don't know. That is why I'm super excited for number 4 Alabama versus MTSU.
Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, fuck Middle Tennessee.
Oh yeah, I forgot we hate them.
Yeah. Old podcast thing.
Boo,
boo them. Boo. I think some other interesting games, just teams that I'm interested to see play. Rice at number 11, Texas, just because I want to see what the quarterback situation looks like. I want to see what that team looks like this year. They are building something as they get ready to head to the SEC. I think next year they're building something to try to get to a level to be on the plane with everybody else. So it's like, you've got Archie Manning there. You've got Quinn Ewers there. Who's going to, they're going to be jostling for supremacy all year, whether or not somebody has that starter situation locked down or not. At any moment, it could go to the next guy. So what does that team look like post Bijan Robinson? Like, there's a lot of questions that I have about Texas because I think they're ready to get back to what Texas typically has been in the college football sphere.
I like Quinn Ewers. I've never been a guy that likes Texas, but last year when they were playing, when they were playing Alabama, they should have won that game if Quinn Ewers didn't injure his collarbone that game. They were rolling. Yeah. They couldn't stop him. Sure, Alabama ended up winning. They should not have won that game.
Right.
Texas, and then afterwards when he came back, he wasn't the same. I thought they were going to be just as fine, but I feel like the injury was kind of the problem. A year later, I think this Texas team will be pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's hard to argue it. But again, we got to see if they struggle with Rice and they've got, so many other big games.
They're not going to struggle with Rice.
I'm only living in a theory here, right? I'm living in
Rice to be good.
A hypothesis of like, if the Owls beat the Longhorns or if the Longhorns struggle with the Owls, does that tell us anything? I don't know. So that's a game I'm interested in. Another game that I'm interested in, staying in the Big 12. Texas in the Big 12.
Yeah.
K-State playing. It's Southeastern Missouri State. So it's like it's not a huge game for K-State.
It sucks how bad the slate is for week 1 usually.
Yeah, because I really want to see what K-State can do this year. Because, again, Big 12 champs last year. They almost sent TCU out of the rink. They almost sent them, to whence they came, to horny frogland. But what does that team look like this year? They lost some considerable talent in the draft, and they're ranked 16th coming in preseason. So they're middle of the pack. Are they going to be great? Are they going to be, middle of the road in the Big 12? Who knows? That's a team that I'd like to watch this year, though.
Sticking to the Big 12, let's talk about the most disrespected team in college basketball, college football, in my opinion. You've been watching TV the past couple of weeks? when you see the promos for Colorado TCU, who are they talking about in those promos?
Oh, Coach Prime.
Who was the runner-up last year in the college football championship?
Right. Now, granted, they got their asses kicked and their quarterback is gone and their running back is gone and their number one cornerback is gone.
They're still going to be good.
They're still going to be good.
They're
But
still going to be good.
to think that Colorado is going to change it overnight, I understand the way that TV stations
hype works,
and how hype works and how getting eyes in works. But to think that Colorado is going to turn it around is so foolish.
You can't. It's been done with a new coach in a new place, but a place that hasn't done anything since the 90s. And you bring in 80 guys. I don't care how high end they are. You can't come in with no culture and then new guys and expect everything to click and everything to be all fine and dandy.
Right.
Especially with all the attention that Coach Prime brings. I am not a Coach Prime hater. I love what he did at Jackson State. I love everything that Coach Prime brings. Next year, I am a full-blown buyer. This season, I'm a full-blown do not touch that. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
TCU minus 20.5. Woo! Hammer.
So okay. You obviously have the Up Your Units podcast. I don't want you to give everything away, but give a tease. Let people know the type of stuff that they can find on that podcast. If I tune into Up Your Units,
yeah,
what can I expect? Because inevitably everybody's going to come around to gambling on football this year, so they might as well be educated while they do it.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to get down how I want this podcast to flow, because in my brain it makes sense, and then when I do it, I'm like, oh, this doesn't flow. This isn't how I want it. But essentially, I want it to be a place where people can think for themselves, gather information, and be like, okay, I want to bet this. Well,
right.
I'm still going to give out picks. Like, I'm not going to do a betting podcast.
But that doesn't mean follow Colby.
Yeah, you can follow, fade. Doesn't matter. If you don't like it, fade me. But I'm trying to bring on people who know these sports that can talk to me, be like, hey, and have me be like, hey, what do you think of this? Because I'm feeling that. And then they give the insight that they have. They have more knowledge than I do on a sport. Even if they don't gamble, you can still understand and grasp what they're saying and use that as, that's what I'm looking for. Like reasons to gamble on this or that. Right. So this past week, I brought on Matt Fortuna. He's a former writer for The Athletic. He has his own thing, The Inside Zone. He comes on my show all the time, live on the line at Stadium and Valley Sports. He knows his stuff. And I'm like, let me get him on. I'll talk to him. Some things we didn't agree on, some things we did, blah, blah, blah. Great insight. Dude knows football. He's going to the Colorado TCU game this weekend. He's like, yo, I'm leaning TCU. You could just tell me a lean.
Right. But again, this is conversational. Your podcast and the way that people are going to see this kind of stuff is conversational.
It's not like, hey, this guy's got. I'm not just stating trends. I'm just
It's not your 30-second hit at a TV timeout during the college football game or whatever.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, but I think it can be something solid for gambling content to be consumed. That sounded terrible. It's going to be pretty good consumption for the fans that like to gamble.
Sure. Let me know when you want to gamble on country music, and I'll come on the Up Your Units podcast. Or if you want to gamble on Beloit College athletics, which I don't think is ever on any book, but I sure know the hell out of some Beloit College
I know
athletics.
some Iowa football players that want to gamble on that. Now, Ryan, speaking of Iowa, there's something I want to run past you because I don't know if you heard this.
I don't think they can gamble, but continue.
They've been caught.
Oh,
yeah. Iowa's coach has a clause in his contract that Iowa has to score 25 plus points a game this season and win 7+ games. They scored 17 a game last season.
I mean, their offense was comically bad last year.
Defense was elite.
I know, but they would finish games like 12-6, and
there was always a safety. They were the Bears of college football.
But you would finish the game being like, did I just watch high school football? High school football games finished 12-6.
I brought it up to Matt, and I was like, so should we be taking Iowa team total every week? And he goes, He goes, better question. What are they going to do if they score like 40 points a game and then win 4, or vice versa? They win 9 games, score 20.
Right? How many extra points per game equals enough wins to save your ass from getting fired? And how many wins
Is
counts
that
for
clause
points on the
super
board?
serious? Is that clause super serious, or does it have leeway?
Right. Probably leeway, right? Because like sports contracts like that always do.
Iowa fans wanted Ferentz gone, but hey, they got him back.
Yeah,
and
and rightfully so, they should.
Oh yeah.
Here's my thing: is we dedicate so many hours of our lives worrying, watching, pining, questioning about our teams that we love. And when somebody consistently shows you that they cannot do the job and they cannot add value to all the time and questioning and worry that you have for this program, it's time for them to go, right? There's so many cases of it.
See a Boone, see a Cashman.
Right. They can't provide that level of experience for Yankees fans. Now, to be fair, I don't know that anybody can, because the majority of Yankees fans, I'm not saying you, but the majority of Yankees fans have such a high expectation for that team and how it should perform that who could really ever meet that that level? Because to be fair, the Yankees have gone to the playoffs and have been in multiple American League Championship series in the past 6 years.
Get the job done.
It's a lot harder than you think. Look at the Bills in the 90s.
Since you're talking about my brothers and sisters, Ryan, I will play devil's advocate once for them and tell you this. I think it's better to demand excellence in rings more than being okay with mediocrity.
Sure, but
I don't want to be
some of that. I think some of that pressure that fans have put on Cashman and Boone, and this expectation of the Yankees being championship contenders every single year has to some extent put them in a very awkward situation where they are just forcing things and trying things in ways that they don't necessarily have to, like, spending, man, like, to me, where we're at and the way that the Giancarlo Stanton thing has played out is like exactly what I'm talking about. The Yankees made that trade because the Yankees could, and having him on the team is a total Yankees move, right? Like, it probably wasn't a smart move when they did it, and it certainly hasn't been a smart move in retrospect. But like, that's, I guess, the type of thing that I'm talking about. Is there's so much pressure?
That's because of the injuries. I'll give him that. If he's someone that's not injury prone, he would be arguably, he might be more of a favorite than Judge. Because when he's hot, you can't stop Stanton.
Sure,
but he also.
But how often is he hot?
But he plays half the season.
Right. So I don't know. Again, to bring it back to the point, when you can't provide the experience, and maybe I'm talking myself in a circle and coming back and saying, you know what, you're right. If that's the experience that Yankees fans want and you can't provide it, then you should go. But also in that situation, your team, your franchise is going to constantly be in flux, because I don't know that anybody can provide that to you. But I think for Iowa Hawkeye fans, the minimum that they should require is more than 12 points a game.
Yeah.
That should be baseline. It doesn't matter what school of thought you come from. You should be able to score more than 12 points in a football game, in college football, in football in general, where the rules are tailored for the offense to score fucking points. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about in this podcast before we say goodbye, the Athletes Unlimited season just wrapped up in Rosemont, Illinois. The softball season, to be specific, because there's lacrosse, there's basketball, there's soccer, I want to say, and obviously the softball circuit as well.
There's no soccer. It's lacrosse,
softball,
basketball,
volleyball. That's the one I was. Yeah. So the softball circuit though just wrapped up. Incredible. So much fun. So many great moments. If you're in the Northern Illinois region, if you're in the region at all, and next summer have the ability to go to an Athletes Unlimited game, number one, it's so much fun. It's elite talent, and it's a phenomenal deal. Every day that they play a doubleheader. You buy a ticket, you get to go to both games. It's really an incredible thing. You're seeing some of these incredible players that a year ago were in college sports and now you get to go see them. I think immediately of Rachel Garcia when I got to go see her last year after her incredible run with UCLA softball. The champion this year, Colby, do you know who it was?
It's my girl.
Odyssey Alexander. How cool is that story?
So listen to this. It was the 2021 season, correct? Yes. That was the year she went off in the college.
Right, with James
World
Madison
Series.
University.
Yes. So I was at one of their practices at Athletes Unlimited when she was a rookie with Athletes Unlimited. And I was eating Chipotle with one of my friends that plays at Athletes Unlimited. Shout out to Sachel Palacios, the Gazzote. And I'm sitting there eating my Chipotle watching this scrimmage. And Odyssey sits in front of me. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. That's
certified
Odyssey
star.
Alex.
She's a certified star.
She was eating like McDonald's or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, she's like a person.
Stars. They're just like us.
I was just blown away because like people in my family knew who she was. And I know they don't watch this stuff.
It'd be like Sabrina Ionescu sitting in front of you. It'd be like,
I'm like, oh my God, this chick played the entire tournament and then some more. She was amazing. Unstoppable.
For those who aren't familiar with Athletes Unlimited and you hear me say the champion was Odyssey Alexander, you're like, how does one person win it? That's the way the league runs. So it's
like
an accumulation.
Sports.
Yeah, it's like fantasy sports, but come to life. It's an accumulation of points. Everything you do on the field earns you points. And the top 4 points accumulators week to week are the captains. They draft brand new teams. And so everything that you do individually and as a team contributes to your personal points. Odyssey Alexander, the pitcher, the hitter, the wonderlick that she is, she was the top points earner, therefore the champion of Athletes Unlimited this year. It's a nice little paycheck for her.
Atta girl.
Yeah.
Now we can't forget, we can't be selling or promoting this without giving them their biggest flower. In my opinion, they have the best fan experience for kids in the entire world.
1000%.
Name a place where kids can meet their stars, their favorite athletes, every effing game.
Yeah.
Game ends. You can get an autograph from every single player that played that day
and talk to them and like have a conversation with them. And
you can build a relationship with them.
Correct. And if you have questions about, name a player,
Erica Piancastelli.
Erica, I'm having a hard time hitting the inside fastball. What is
She will get down on one knee and teach you right then and there.
She'll bring you over the fence and show you. She'll be like, hold the bat this way and get through. And, she will. There is no better fan experience. Cub, who was your favorite player growing up?
It's just Tebow.
Okay, favorite
Jeter.
Okay, mine was Derek Lee growing up. Imagine having an opportunity, your first game going to see Derek Jeter in person, or for me, Derek Lee, seeing him for the first time in person. I would be bawling my eyes out, but also think about how valuable that is to retaining fans.
I forgot
from a
what
business
player was
perspective, retaining fans. It's so smart.
I forgot which player it was, but there was a clip I put on our story at the Instagram. It was one of the players talking to a girl in the stands. She was bawling her eyes out because she was talking to her and she got an autograph. They got a photo, whatever. They're the nicest people on the freaking planet.
Intimate stadium. I went to a game this summer. They had a play under review. And current friend of the show, Gwen Svetkiss, was standing feet from me because you're so close to the action. I'm like, Gwen, what do you think? Did the run score or not? She's like, where do you get that? Did she remember you? I don't know. I have a different appearance than I used to. But I was actually just thinking, as we're having this conversation, that having Gwen on again would be desirable. I would like to do that.
Soon to be married.
Yes. Yeah. Her and is it Taylor?
Taylor Edwards, yeah.
Taylor Edwards, who's also a Athletes Unlimited.
They met through Athletes Unlimited, I think.
Very cool. How cool is that? But yeah, again, there's all the good things in the world to say about Athletes Unlimited. Anytime you get a chance to talk about or brag about that league, you have to. And with the softball season, probably their crown jewel wrapping up it was necessary to bring up Odyssey Alexander and all the fun that you can have there next summer when they're back again for Athletes Unlimited season. Would that be season 5 already?
Dude, we're old.
Yeah,
We're old.
we are.
So I didn't get to go this past year because it's a hassle for me to get there. It's tough, and I
the
didn't
train,
have time.
it's the whole system of getting down. It's hard.
I don't have a car, so it's tough. Last year I went, and that was when on TikTok there was a sound going around where it was like, that thing is fucking thing. I recorded that so perfectly. I got an Erica Piancastelli home run. I recorded that sound over her hitting a home run. So after the game, I was with a friend. I was like, I have to show her this. She knows I've done interviews with her. The nicest human being on the planet. Yeah. Anna, dang.
She's a day guy.
Hey.
Yeah.
She's giving autographs. I just swoop over real quick. I go, yo, check this out. She goes,
send that to me.
Text me that right now. I was like, got you. I was like, nice seeing you. I'll see you later.
Yeah, we got to get back in with our Athletes Unlimited friends. There's so many of them. It was so fun going to the game and
they
being
make
like,
you feel like they're your best friend.
I've interviewed her. I have her phone number. Like, it's like, they are the best. So that is to come on the Missed Call podcast for sure. But I think this is probably the line in the sand, right? This is where we leave you. Episode 143 of the Missed Call podcast in the books. You can check the podcast out wherever you get your podcast. If you're listening, check out the video on YouTube. If you're YouTubing it, you could, not have to watch us bumble through our sentences. You can also follow us on social media at Call Podcast, CALL Podcast. If you can spell, you can find us. I'm Ryan Sartori. That's Colby Marcio.
Even then.
And put that shit on.
on.
See you guys next week.
See ya.
Peace out.